one should never go to a race without having an a priori nutritional plan, which indicates how many carbohydrates you are going to use per hour and how many sodium you are going to use per hour. And this is something you have to experience in training, because the general rule is that as soon as an exercise, an endurance exercise, lasts for more than 3 hours, you need between 60 and maximum 90 grams of carbohydrates per hour. And the closer you get to the 90 grams, the better it is, but you should not exceed 90 grams because this will only cause gastrointestinal problems. And this is something you can only learn when you make a plan, which indicates which gels, which drinks, which energy bars you are going to use at what moment in the race to get to a maximum of 90 grams of carbohydrates per hour and between 1 and 1.5 gram of sodium. And when you have this plan, you can take additional water during the race without any problem. But never take more carbohydrates or sodium than you have written in the plan. The biggest mistake is that they take too much sodium and too much carbohydrates. All triathletes, especially in a full triathlon, they come to a point of exhaustion, near exhaustion. They get very, very thirsty. And instead of drinking additional water, they start to drink additional sports drinks with even more carbohydrates, especially fructose, which is dangerous to get diarrhea. And they overload the intestinal system with carbohydrates and they get diarrhea and gastrointestinal problems, and it's game over. And making a nutritional plan for a half or a full triathlon, it's not really an easy job. So I think you should go to a very experienced sports nutritionist with long-term experience in long-distance running, triathlon, in endurance sports. And the first thing you would probably need to tell him is which are your preferred foods and drinks to use during the race. And then your nutritionist can help you to plan the utilization of your drinks and gels in the race in a 5, 8, 10-hour plan, depending on whether you are doing in a half or a full triathlon. For the carbohydrate intake, it's very clear. You try to get up to 90 grams of carbohydrates per hour using foods you like to use during the race, or drinks or gels. So this is something you don't need in a priori testing, though you would need to train this procedure extensively in your training in approach of the race. So never do something for the first time in an important race. For the water intake and the sodium intake, what we would normally do for elite triathletes is do a test to calculate their sweat rate and their sodium loss in the sweat, and then make a specific plan for the sodium and water intake during the race. So for water and sodium, I recommend to do a testing. For the carbohydrates, you should do the testing in training.